back again to another YouTube video. I am Yohan Clue. Today we're gonna do a video in regards to the follow-up from the last video on the silage. So we're gonna look at the process of how the silage came out, and later on in the video we can show you how we feed it to the goats. Just stay tuned for that. So we're opening the silage now. Let's see if it turns out how we intend it to turn out. So we had the tape to seal it. Okay. Some amount of air got into this, but no worries. That tend to happen from time to time. So if you pull your silage and you see these white stuff on it, that's mold. And you typically get it because air got into it or excess moisture. So we're not only going to show you all the good sides, we're going to show you all the bad sides, because this is life and things happen, and we need to know how to limit or correct these issues. So what we're going to do, we're going to remove all the spots that have the mold, because the mold can give the goats diarrhea, and we don't want that. So, and it could get worse than diarrhea. It could get listeria, which is high bacterial load. So we're going to remove all of the portions that have the mold and feed the rest. Alright, so persons might be wondering, why do all of this to make the silage for the goats when you can just feed them like normal? And I would say, why not do the silage? So let's go through a list of reasons why the silage makes sense. So reason number one, in terms of feed consistency, right? So in times where there's drought, you have a silage and you can continue feeding your goats high quality forages and food same way, even though outside there isn't a lot for them to eat. So in terms of drought, you can go with silage. In terms of feed costs, to make silage versus buying bag feed, the silage is on the cheaper side. It's just that it takes a lot of time, most times, to do it, but it's on the cheaper side in terms of costing to do silage. And doing the silage doesn't mean that you lose out anything that the bag feeding would have, because with the silage you can mix your silage how you want it. You can add the forages that have the nutrient profile close to what a bag feeding would hold, or even better, because you do have silage forages that have higher nutritional contents than what the bag feed will carry. Another benefit of silage is also increase feed intake and better weight gain, because we run the grass and the other forages through the machine, and the machine cuts it smaller, right? The particle size that you get, the goats can readily eat this, which in turn limits the amount of food that is wasted, versus having the long blades where the goat have to eat the blades in sections, which they typically don't do. But with a system like this, it works. You get more out of a blade of grass when you do it like that. You cut it smaller and you process it. The weight gain part of it, you get an increased weight gain with the silage, because the molasses that's on the grass adds directly to the energy level, right? So instead of the animal getting the energy from the forage itself, it's getting the energy from the molasses. When the grass is broken down, the animal still get some more energy from that, but majority of what the forage that is broken down goes directly to weight gain in the form of proteins and other vitamins. Goats that are typically on silage tend to put on a lot more weight in a lot shorter time. Another benefit of the silage is it cuts your feed costs. Look at this scenario, right? You along with say two other persons, depending on where you are, say you're paying them about $5,000 for the day, each person. So that's $10,000. Depending on where you are, say your transportation to chop the grass from wherever you are cost you say about $10,000. So you're spending $20,000, right? You traffic that grass and you make a silage. Say you get around say 4 to 5 drums. Initial stage you're spending $20,000. You're getting 4 to 5 drum, and additionally to that cost you're looking at gas. Say you spend about say an next $1,500 on gas. So that's 20,000, 21,500. Say you put that in bag feed. You're getting around like say bag feed is what 3,000 something. So you're getting about 6 bags. You can't feed bag feeding alone. It's not recommended, and if you look at the packaging, it tells you that it is nutritional supplement. So you're not supposed to feed bag feed only. But with silage, you can feed it only every day for the year. No problems. So that's how it cuts your feed costs. Separate apart from that, the silage, it helps with bloating because you have different fiber lengths. With the different lengths of the grass, you don't get as much bloating. If you feed grains regularly every day, you're gonna get bloating. And bloat is dangerous in ruminants because they can eventually lead to death. So that's another benefit of using silage. In terms of rainy weather, you don't want to send your goats out in rainy weather because that opens them up to a lot of diseases and a lot of problems. And also a lot of worms too. So you can do silage again in that instance. Persons who have a lot of goats, right? And you have to constantly be feeding your goats them every day. There's an additional benefit to silage, right? So you have the silage, your silage that you make or you buy from me, because I do sell silage, right? So you have the silage, and you have other forages that you want to add to it. You can add your ackee skin, your banana leaf, and all these other things that go eat, and make one big batch of ration for your animals. And you can definitely add your bag feed to it and other stuff that persons tend to mix and give their animal, like wheat milling. You have your beer apps. You can add all of those things to your silage and feed your animals. So you can have your silage, make a big batch of ration, and feed your animals consistently over time. So in terms of a simple ration idea, we're using silage. You could have a mixture where it's 70 to 80% silage. You can use the next 10% with your bag feed. You add some salt to it. You can add your free trace minerals also, and you can add some amount of other forages to make up your overall ration. Interesting to note also, for farmers who are running a goat operation with a lot of females, a lot of pregnant females, it's good to incorporate the silage into it because of the molasses and the silage adds to their energy level. The small particle sizes add to their feed intake, so that will eventually boost the overall nutrition of the females, because you don't want to have weak kids, you don't want to have abortions because of nutrient problems. If you're feeding your silage and you realize that the goat's not eating it, no need to worry. The fermentation process produces lactic acid, and the lactic acid tends to burn their nose some of the time, so they tend to not want to eat it readily, but let's give it a few and they will eventually start eating it. Some goats take longer than others, but they will eat it. And as I mentioned before, it can be mixed. So if you're a person that loves feeding bag feed, you can mix some bag feed in it and feed them. You can add salt to it to make it more palatable for the goats, because they tend to like a lot of salt, and it's within reason because goats have a high salt intake. They require a lot of salt. So this guy wants to be in the video. So we have come to the end of another video. Hope you learned something new. Like, comment, share, and comment topics that you'd like me to cover. And see you in the next video.